Hello grade 9s, sorry it's been a while. Today I'm going to do page 4, 5, 6 and 7 with you. Please, if you haven't done them yet, do it first before you do it. I will do each page in a separate video so that you can make sure that you do the work before you mark them. I'm not going to do everything, it's a lot. So I will tell you which ones I will do, but I will do like a few of each exercise. Like for example, page 4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 18. There's 18 sums. I will do 6 with you. I think if I do 6 with you, you will understand the rest. So let's start with page 4. That is worksheet number 2, the integers revision. Okay, so I'm going to do the first line with you there. So I will do number A, D, G, J, M, and P. I think then you will be able to do the rest. So if we look at number 1A, it says negative 81 divided by negative 9. Now, before I carry on, I want to quickly speak to you guys about this. If you don't get taught by me, this will be a new thing for you. I tell my children always that in maths, just like in English, you've got verbs. Now, verb is a doing word. So in math, we also have doing words. We've got verbs. We've got plus, we've got minus, we've got times, divide, we've got roots, and we've got power halves. So those are the 6 verbs that you can get in maths, especially in grade 9 and 10. So if we look at this sum here, what will the verb be in the sum? What will the action be in the sum? The action here says I have to divide. So this minus over here is not a verb. It's a number on the number line. So what I'm going to do is, because it's divide, I'm going to put it on a fraction, because when I divide and I put it on fractions, it's just easier. So negative 81 divided by negative 9. Now, if we have times and divide as a verb, I will say a negative times a negative is equal to a positive. A positive times a positive is equal to a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative, and a positive times a negative is equal to a negative. So if this is the verb, then my answer will be that. Now the same happens for when I divide. If I say a negative, divide by a negative, so a number divide, that's my verb, by another number gives me a positive number. So negative divided by a negative gives me a positive, and 81 divided by 9 is 9. Do I have to write my answer as positive 9? No, I can just write my answer as 9. Okay, so my next one I'm going to do with you will be number D. 10 plus 13 minus 12 divided by 4. So if we look at BODMAS says I must do brackets first. So if I look at my BODMAS, this says bracket first. Then this is off, order, other. Everyone learned something else. The only thing that this is actually is power and the root. That's why I like to use of, because we talk about the power of 2 or the power of 3 or the square root of, the cube root of. Then this goes together. They do not stand separately. This is division and multiplication, whichever comes first. Just like when you read, we read from left to right. So if times is before dividing the sum, we do times first. They are equal to each other. The same with addition and subtraction, they are equal to each other. So it's plus and minus, whichever comes first. Okay, so if we look at this sum, there's no brackets, there's no power or root. There is a divide or a multiply. It comes in here. So I'm going to have 10 plus 13 and then negative 12 divided by 4. Wait, let's just leave it at 12 divided by 4 first. So it's going to be minus 12 divided by 4. So we've got 10 plus 13, 12 divided by 4 gives you negative 3. So it's going to be 10 plus 13, addition and subtraction, whichever comes first. Addition is first, so it will be 13 minus 3, which will give you 10 as your final answer. If you don't write it in the bracket like that, remember this will be negative 12 divided by 4. Negative 12 divided by 4 gives you negative 3. Okay, the next one I'm going to do will be number G. It will be 2 minus 5 divided by bracket 15, bracket negative 2. What does it mean if there's two brackets next to each other? It means times. Now, they are telling us that we have to follow BODMAS. So brackets, this doesn't count as a bracket because there's no sum inside the bracket. There's no power. There is division and multiplication, whichever comes first. So they say division and multiplication. There's my division first with these two numbers. So I'm going to say 2 and negative 5 divided by 15 gives me negative 3 bracket negative 2. Now this is my times over here. So I will times these two. So it will be 2. Negative 3 times negative 2. And negative times a negative is a positive. So it will be positive and 3 times 2 is 6. So my answer will be 8 for number G. Number J, 11 plus 9 minus negative 10. There's my brackets first. A negative times a negative is a positive, so 11 plus 9 plus 10 gives me 20 plus 10, which gives me 30. You guys, please, there's a mistake with G. I'll show you now. Okay, after J, I'm going to do M. Please don't mark G. There's a mistake. I did something wrong. Number M, negative 49 divided by negative 4 plus negative 3 in a big bracket. Okay, so here I've got something in a big bracket now, so I'm going to have to do that first. So this stays negative 49. You can keep it in a bracket. This stays divide. This stays negative 4. A positive times a negative gives me negative, so it will be negative 3. So it's going to be negative 49 divided by negative 4 minus 3 gives you negative 7. So negative 49 divided by negative 7. Negative divided by negative gives you positive. 49 divided by 7 is 7. So my answer is only 7. Number P. Says 20 times 5 plus negative 4 gives me 20 times, and inside the bracket positive and a negative is a negative, so 5 minus 4 gives me 20 times 1, which gives me 20. I want to do number G over, please. 2 minus 5 divided by 15 times negative 2. Small mistake that you didn't remind me of, that I didn't see. Let me just put this in a bracket. These two numbers are attached, so we have to do them first. So it will be 2 minus 5 divided by 15 times 2, negative 2 gives me negative 30. And then this is now a division sum. And this is where the mistake actually came in. So it will be 2 minus 5 over negative 30. So it will be 2 minus 1 over negative 6. A minus and a minus is a positive, so it will be 2 plus 1 over 6. So my answer will be 2 and a 6. Or 6, 12, 13 over 6. Okay, there we go for number 1. Number 2, I'm going to read the answers to you, so please listen. You can never take the square root of what kind of number? You guys, if you put in your calculator the square root of a certain kind of number, it gives you an error. What is that? It's negative. So you can't say the square root of negative 4, for example. It will give you an error. Please check your calculator, do it. Put in your calculator square root negative 4 equals 2. It's going to give you an error. You cannot have a negative square root. Number B, you can take the what of a positive and a negative number. What kind of number can we have with positive and negative numbers? It's a cube root. If you put in your calculator the cube root of negative 9, it will give you negative 3. If you put in your calculator the cube root of 9, it will give you positive 3. So you can do the positive and negative numbers of cube roots. Number C, when a negative number is squared, the answer is always what? So if I have a negative number that I'm squaring, so let's say I'm having negative 2 squared. Negative times negative gives me positive. 2 times 2 gives me 4. It will give me positive 4. So number C, when a negative number is squared, the answer is positive. When a positive number is squared, so if it was just 2, 2 squared gives you 4. So when a positive number is squared, the answer is also positive. When a negative number is cubed, so the answer is what? If I have a negative number that is cubed. Remember, I explained this to you guys in class. If I cube a number, I've got 3 numbers. I'm having negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. And we learned now that a negative times a negative gives me a positive. Okay? So if I take this positive number now and I times it again with a negative number, what am I going to have? Because positive times negative gives me negative again. So if a number is cubed and it is a negative number, your answer is also going to be negative. And then the next one says, when a positive number is cubed, the answer is positive. Okay, remember we did this in class. We said that all powers that's equal, so to the power of 2, to the power of 4, to the power of 6, to the power of 8, to the power of 100. If you have a negative number to the power of an equal number, your answer will always be positive. When you have a negative number power to a odd number, an uneven number, then your answer will always be negative. So if it's negative 2 to the power of to the power of 3, to the power of 5, to the power of 9, to the power of 15, to the power of 299, it's all uneven numbers, so your answer will be negative. And remember that especially when you have like 1 to the power of, or negative 1 to the power of 5 will be negative 1. negative 1 to the power of 200 will be positive 1. Okay, then the last one there. Before you can root something, you first need to make sure that there's only one term under the root sign. You guys, I said to you this in class, and I think I wrote it here at the bottom for you as well. Remember that a root counts as a bracket when we look at BODMAS. We first have to do the sum under the bracket before we can do the root of that number. So let's look at number 3. I'm also just going to do the first column here. So it will be A, D, G, J, M, and P. They say find the answers of these questions without using a calculator. Let's see if we can do that. You guys remember, without using a calculator means I want to see all your steps. So even if you do use a calculator to assist you, you cannot just punch everything on your calculator and write down the answer. I need to see your steps. It counts marks. So they are telling me the cube root of 100 plus 25. So this counts as a bracket. So I'm going to do cube root of, with the verb that we are going to do now is plus. So it's going to be 125. And my verb now will be the cube root of. So the cube root of 125 is 5. And remember, if you're using the cube root falls away. So you can't go and write the cube root of 5 is equal to 5. That's untrue. You will not get your marks. Then number D, 10 squared plus negative 6 to the power of 3. So we're first going to do our roots, our squares and our cubes. So to the power of 10 to the power of 2 is 100 plus negative 6 to the power of 3. Negative number to the power of an odd number will give me a negative number. Now this is where it comes in, where you can use your calculator. 6 to the power of 3 gives you 216, if I'm right. To the power of 3. I'm right. Gives me negative 216. What happens if I have a plus and a minus? It becomes a minus. So 100 minus 216. 100 minus 216 gives you negative 116. Number G, 1 to the power of 3 plus the square root of 81. So I first do this verb. 1 to the power of 3 is 1. Plus this verb says the square root of 81. The square root of 81 is 9. 1 plus 9 gives you 10. Number J, negative 6 squared plus negative 2 squared. I've got a negative number that is risen to an even power. So negative times negative is positive. 6 times 6 is 36. Plus negative number to an even number, so it will be positive, and 2 times 2 is 4, so 36 plus 4 gives you 40. Then number M, 1 squared plus 3 plus 4 squared. So 1 squared is 1 plus, remember we have to do brackets first, so we're going to say 3 plus 4 gives you 7, 7 squared. So 1 plus 49 gives you 50. 7 squared is 49. Then the last one for this exercise, or for this page, will be P, 5 squared plus 4 squared equals to 5 squared is 25, 4 squared is 16, 5 and 6 gives you 11, 30, 40 gives you 41, 20, 30, 41. Yes. Okay, so this is page 4. Your next one will be page 5 that I will do with you. Thank you, grade 9s. I appreciate that you're tuning in, and keep up the hard work.